안녕하세요 여러분. 오늘은 리니아 프로젝트와 함께 AMA 시간을 가지게 되었습니다. 오늘 AMA에도 많은 관심과 참여 부탁드리겠습니다. 오늘 AMA 보상은 질문 당첨자들에게 당연히 텔레그램을 통해 안내해드릴 예정이고요. AMA 이후에 안내드리도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요. 불개미 커뮤니티 유저들에게 자기소개 및 리니아에 대해 소개 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hey, thank you so much for the intro. I'm really excited to be here with you. My name's Christopher. I'm the head of ecosystem of Linea. Linea is the consensus ZK EVM. It's a layer 2 scaling Ethereum. And Linea is the most Ethereum L2. So if you're somebody who believes in the future of Ethereum as a decentralized world computer, there's no better L2 than Linea. Why do I say that? Well, for starters, Linea was founded by an Ethereum co-founder, the CEO and founder of Consensus, Joe Lubin. And we have more ETH core developers building Linea than all the other L2 networks combined. So we really are maximizing to scale Ethereum while also preserving the core ethos of Ethereum and decentralization and security. In addition to that, we have very close partnerships with Consensus and Metamask that help bring a lot of users, a lot of liquidity, basically a lot of demand to projects that build on Linea. So really excited to dive more into details and learn more about your community.
Thank you for your kind introduction. 네, 리니아는 간단하게 설명드리면 우리가 너무 잘 아는 메타마스크의 개발사 컨센시스가 개발 중인 레이어 2 블록체인으로 1분기에 런칭을 앞두고 있고요. 이더리움의 창시자 중 한 명, 코파운더 중 한 명이 만든 컨센시스가 만드는 프로젝트라고 할 수 있겠습니다. Okay, could we move question section?
Let's do it.
지금부터 퀘스천 섹션으로 넘어가서 사전 질문 받은 내용들 한번 질문해 보도록 하겠습니다. This question is first question. What difference does Linea have in terms of gas fee, security, and user experience compared to optimistic roll-ups such as Arbitrum and Optimism?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So the key differentiator at this point between an OP stack and optimistic rollup like Arbitrum, Optimism Base, and Linea really comes down to security and the future of the network. So in the past, like a year ago, 2 years ago, ZK EVMs like Linea were more expensive than optimistic rollups. But today, the difference in cost is negligible. So you can do a transaction on Optimism, you can do a transaction on Linea, you're going to pay 2 to 5 cents, basically the same price on either network. But the thing that Linea as a ZK EVM has that these optimistic stacks don't have is fast finality. So the way that data is verified by the L1 happens much more quickly on Linea. And let me break that down just a little bit. When we talk about L1s and the L1 and the L2s, the whole point is that the L2, like Linea, is inheriting the security of Ethereum's validators, the most powerful decentralized validator set in the world. And what this validator set does is it checks the record of the blockchain transactions that occur on the layer 2 and it verifies them. And it says, these are all valid. None of this is fraudulent. And this layer 2 network is correctly sequencing its blocks. No, there's no fraud, there's no malicious actors. So in an optimistic stack, they use, it's called optimistic for a reason. They use optimistic proofs. And basically optimistic proofs assume that the data coming from the layer 2 is valid. Now, in the beginning, that gave some really big advantages on gas costs because they have to do less computation in order to prove the correctness of their data validity. However, that means that if you want to withdraw your funds or have your transaction be finally settled by the L1, it takes a period of 7 days. 7 days. So if you want to basically use a canonical bridge to get off of an OP stack, it's 7 days. It's a very, very long time. So for a lot of institutions, a lot of like more serious financial players, optimistic stacks were compelling in the beginning, but now there's a greater trend in the industry that is looking towards ZK EVMs as the future of layer 2s, because our finality is 8 to 24 hours. That means that the data is verified on-chain by the L1, and funds can move between the L2 and the L1 within 8 hours, as opposed to 7 days. It's a 10x order of magnitude greater speed, actually greater than 10x. And what it means is that if you're transacting on Linea, you have greater confidence in network security, in data correctness, and you have greater ability to move your funds to Ethereum mainnet if you're worried about something bad happening on Linea. Now, all of this is to say, OP stacks have a lot going for them. They've done very well, but the future of the networks is going to invariably go towards this ZK style proof system. And so networks like Linea, we have the most innovative zero-knowledge cryptographers in the world building our stack. We figured out ways to scale our throughput and transactions to 10K TPS by 2026. Basically, if you're a long-term builder, if you're somebody interested in long-term growth of a network ecosystem, a network environment, if you're interested in finding protocols that will stand up the test of time and not just fade away after a year or 6 months, Linea is really the perfect ecosystem for you.
Okay, thank you for your detailed answer. 간단하게 정리하면 이전에 있던 레이어 2들과 리니아는 출금 기간이 상대적으로 많이 짧다는 것, 그리고 트랜잭션 수수료 가스비도 물론 더 저렴하고 다양한 경험들을 할 수 있음을 경쟁 우위로 말씀해 주셨고 자막을 참고하시면 되겠습니다. 네, 다음은 크립토 시장에 대한 고질적인 문제에 대해서 질문을 주셨는데요. Let's move second question. Second question about chronic crypto market industry problem. Yeah. Second question is, many projects have decreased momentum after TGE. In the case of the Linea, do you have any plans prepared to survive among layer 2 after TGE?
Absolutely, we do, and that's a great question. There are a lot of reasons why some projects lose momentum after TGE, but there's a lot of projects that get more momentum after TGE. And if we look at the past couple of years, without talking about like, oh, what's the long-term strategy for growth? We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's really simple. How is the airdrop? How does the community perceive the airdrop? Our industry is community-driven. Our industry is community first. Linea has a very large community who have participated in our LXP programs and for user activity, for liquidity incentives. Over 750,000 people are part of the Linea community. Basically, it all comes down to how do those people feel after the TGE has occurred? Do they get a good airdrop or not? Look at a few examples. I'm not trying to badmouth any competitors, but last year there were some very exciting L2s that did their TGE. Starknet, Scroll, and ZK Sync. Each of them had a similar structure leading into TGE, and basically the way that their airdrop worked did not make the community happy. And so the community, as a collective, abandoned those networks. When your users decide that they do not want to support the network anymore, it's very easy for them because there's a lot of networks out there that are offering different incentive programs, different point systems. There's a huge amount of supply, and it's really the users, it's really the community that's the most valuable asset for a network in 2025. So does that mean that like after a TGE and an airdrop, the ecosystem momentum has to stop? Absolutely not. Look at Hype, look at Arbitrum, look at Optimism, look at Jupiter. If an airdrop is conducted well, then it reinvigorates momentum into that protocol, because your users, your community, I really think of it as community members, not users. It's like your people, your family, your on-chain family love your project even more. And so they become even more avid supporters. They become more vocal. It attracts more people, and it distributes liquidity, distributes money to a lot of people who then reinvest it into the ecosystem. And so that fundamental truth of making sure that the TGE and airdrop are very successful for our community is the key cornerstone of making sure that there is momentum on Linea after the airdrop. The second part of the answer is about like long-term growth plans, but I don't want to get too much into that. I feel like you probably have some questions about it down the line, and I prefer to hit it there.
Thank you for your answer. 대략적으로 설명을 좀 드리면 에어드랍 스킴을 통해 그리고 70만 명에 달하는 리니아 커뮤니티의 전폭적인 지원을 통해 상장 이후에도 에어드랍 이후에도 지속적으로 지지를 이끌어낼 거라고 하고요. 아비트럼과 주피터, 옵티미즘과 같은 성공 사례가 있기 때문에 충분히 가능하다. 그리고 우리만의 특별한 포인트도 있다라고 말씀해 주셨습니다. Okay, let's move third question. Third question is Linea has been very supportive of Metamask, and I believe that the convenience of new wallet, like OKX wallet and Levy wallet also too, is decreasing the proportion of Metamask. I wonder what kind of support Linea will provide for Metamask, which is less competitive for Web3 users.
Yeah, that's a great question, and you're absolutely right. There's a lot of great wallets out there who are solving different parts of the user experience, and some do it, and some have success in a specific niche. Metamask still is the most popular EVM wallet with tens of millions of daily active users. So I think that the market sentiment, frankly, is worse about MetaMask, and MetaMask adoption really is, if you look at the on-chain activity. In answer to the question about like how Linea and MetaMask will work together in the future, we're actually designing something very exciting. It's an industry-first partnership between the MetaMask team out of Consensus and the future Linea Association that will create a very strong interlink between MetaMask end users and the Linea network. I can't specify too much about it here today because it's still in development. It's not something we've announced yet, but I've been talking to Joe Lubin, Nicolas Leochon. Joe Lubin's the CEO of Consensus, co-founder of Ethereum. Nicolas Leochon is the head of Linea, working with Jason Linehan, who's the head of SMG, and the MetaMask leadership team to develop this innovative program that connects the wallet to the ecosystem and the ecosystem incentives. And so the basic theory is like you can have network incentives drive user activity, but it's more effective and efficient to have those sorts of programs be conducted at the wallet level, because people, when you come to be on chain, you don't log into Linea, you sign into MetaMask. You don't say, oh, I'm going to go to linea.com and go find a dApp. Like, you either swap from your MetaMask or you go to your favorite router or aggregator and you make a transaction on whatever network is the most capital efficient and has the most opportunities. So in the future, over the course of years, once Linea decentralizes, there's going to be a very powerful partnership that incentivizes a lot of MetaMask users to come to Linea to have Linea be their home network if they're a MetaMask user. We're anticipating that to be a major value proposition, not just for the Linea network, but also to differentiate MetaMask from the other wallets who don't have as much of a connection to a chain.
Okay, perfect answer. Thank you. 리니아가 이제 연합을 구축해서 메타마스크와 리니아의 이제 사용성을 높이기 위해서 지속적으로 개발을 할 거라고 하고요. 리니아의 엔드 유저부터 메타마스크를 기반으로 개발하는 개발자들 그리고 프로덕트 제품까지 연계할 계획이라고 합니다. 네, 다음 질문으로 넘어가 보겠습니다. Okay, let's move first question. Are there any special incentive program or grant program for developers in the Linea ecosystem?
Yes. No, there's not right now. We had a large-scale points program that effectively served as a kind of developer incentive program back in 2024. And now we're really focused on getting the Linea Association up and the Linea token launched. And after that, there will be more details published around incentive programs, grants, investment fund, all of those fun things that really help developers come to Linea. So If you stay tuned, if you follow Linea Build, if you follow me on Twitter over the coming 90 days, 60 to 90 days, you'll hear a lot more details about our developer incentive programs as they come out.
네, thank you for your answer. 지금은 없지만 곧 생길 예정이기도 하고요. 이제 대부분의 프로젝트가 상장하고 나서 토큰 인센티브를 걸고 이제 그란트 프로그램을 모집을 하기 때문에 그때 한번 기대해봐도 좋을 것 같습니다. Okay, this is fifth question. I wonder about a roadmap. What are the key milestone and important update for Linea?
Amazing question. So I'm going to take this moment to plug two things, and then I'll give you an answer. Go to community.linea.build. I'm going to drop that link in chat so you can share it with the audience. Community.linea.build is our community forum, and it's a place where Linea community members, the Linea team, people from ENS, the Ethereum Foundation, basically like industry-leading research and development ecosystem teams and community members come together to talk about the future of Linea. In this forum, very recently, one of my team members, Declan Fox, made a long, detailed post about the future of Linea's product roadmap. This is really just talking about the protocol itself, but I want to hit a few points. Decentralization is one of the highest priority things of our roadmap. Decentralization is governance through a token, an association, a DAO, and that totally changes the structure of how resources are used, how growth is funded, this sort of thing. That is coming very soon. And then decentralization at the technical level means that there's no longer a centralized sequencer and the provers are no longer fully centralized. This contributes to the security of the network because it eliminates the risk that a malicious actor could take control of a team member or somehow get access to a multi-sig. And basically it is imitating and replicating and reproducing Ethereum's decentralized stack, but at the L2 level. So we are targeting multi-prover and ZKVM multi-prover in 2026. We're targeting multi-sequencer in 2026. Major priority, very hard to do. No ZK-EVM has done it yet, and we're working extremely diligently on it. Second key component is scalability. Right now, Linea has a threshold of about 100 transactions per second before we hit any network congestion. This is going to change in the future. So as demand for block space increases, Linea is going to be ready to handle the future of on-chain activity. In 2026, thanks to the limitless prover innovation pioneered by Alex Belling on our team, Linea will be able to serve over 10,000 TPS while being a fully decentralized stack. That is the most performant and most decentralized layer 2 product roadmap in existence. Other L2s are making sacrifices in one way or another. Either they're going to sacrifice the ability to decentralize in favor of higher TPS and lower latency, or they're going full decentralization but not going to be able to support the scale of the world's financial transactions on their network. Linea is perfectly positioned to deliver the same security, the same decentralization benefits of Ethereum mainnet, while also scaling it to a 1000x order of magnitude on transaction and data throughput.
Thank you for your kind explain. 정리하면 첫 번째는 탈중앙화를 시킬 거라고 하네요. DAO를 만들어서 리니아를 커뮤니티 드리븐으로 만들게 하는 것과 추가로 개발해서 이제 리니아 체인 자체의 성능을 올리고 하는 것들이 주요한 로드맵으로 예정되어 있다고 합니다. Okay, Grace. This question is our final question. Actually, I already knew Linea project really huge investment from big company. I just wonder how is the Linea project different from project that have already been to market like Arbitrum, Optimism, like other things. Can you explain its value in the market and future potential?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing about Linea that nobody else really has, not even Base has Coinbase, and that's been a huge value proposition for them. That's led to them being the top L2 in a lot of ways because the Coinbase and Base team work very closely together to create just stronger onboarding. Coinbase supported them a lot financially. Linea is the consensus chain. Consensus is responsible for getting Ethereum to where it is today. Consensus pioneered the first cloud-based RPCs through Infura. That unlocked a wave of innovation and development that created DeFi Summer. Infura was the de facto cloud developer platform that allowed people to stop having to stand up their own hardware to run ETH nodes. They could just go ping API calls through Infura. Consensus innovated Metamask, the wallet that onboarded hundreds of millions of users to the EVM ecosystem and really defined front-end wallet standards as they are today. Consensus has a long track record of innovating in, also the Linea ZK EVM is one of the most innovative and industry-leading zero-knowledge cryptographic research projects in the world. So long-term, Linea and Consensus work very closely together. Somebody in my Twitter comments once wrote, the real 800-pound gorilla in the room for Linea is Consensus. And over the coming year, you're going to see the impact of having a network fully backed by Consensus. Because with the change in administration, the regulatory landscape has completely changed. We're in a full risk on mode. Over the past 4 years, Consensus has really held back because it's been such a predatory regulatory environment. But now it's full steam ahead. Consensus is talking to the Trump administration. They're talking to regulators. They're talking to people who write laws. And Consensus is going to do some incredible things over the coming year that redefine the Ethereum landscape. It's going to redefine and start to onboard institutions who were previously very afraid to touch Ethereum, even though they see the merit in Ethereum, like large-scale institutions, big banks, Wall Street desks, all of these companies that power the centralized financial ecosystem. In every company, there are people who want to bring their business on chain, and they want to do it on Ethereum. But the two things that held them back were Ethereum gas costs and regulatory risk. So now with these two things solved by Linea, scaling away the gas costs, and by regulatory risks going away, Consensus is primed to be the most influential company bringing centralized finance institutions and Web2 companies into the Ethereum ecosystem. And they'll be bringing those businesses to Linea. Pay attention to this. Pay attention to Joe Lubin. Pay attention to Consensus. Over the coming 3 months, you're going to see some incredible news in this direction, and it's going to completely redefine how the crypto native ecosystem perceives Consensus and Linea itself. Because as Consensus takes this much more powerful role again in the ecosystem, Linea is the layer 2, as the most Ethereum aligned layer 2 in existence. It will get a lot of that benefit from working with Consensus. In addition, we have the Metamask integration that I was hinting at earlier. Again, can't be too specific about it. But beyond that, Linea has the strongest core community supporter out of all the L2s. Base has more active users, but if you go out into the Twitter and you find the communities, we have the second largest meme coin activity communities. We have the second biggest NFT communities out of all the layer 2 EVMs. And this is set to prime and detonate as we have more innovative projects launching on Linea every day. We have blue chip protocols coming to integrate. The staying power of Linea has been proven. We have no incentives running right now. We have no points programs, and we're still the number 4 layer 2 across all metrics. After the TGE, our community will grow tenfold. It will be a radical Linea native hardcore cult community, and that is the most difficult thing in the world to replicate for a network. That plus Consensus plus Metamask plus our army of hundreds of incredible industry leading builders in DeFi, in gaming, in payments, and the Metamask card is going to absolutely set Linea up for success in the short term and the long term. Let me give you one example. The Metamask card. The Metamask debit card has been in beta for about 6 months now. And the Metamask team, this is a little alpha. You're going to hear a huge announcement about the Metamask card around the time of ETH Denver. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to Linea during that time, because those two things come together. The Metamask card is a massive growth vector. We're targeting 1 million users of the Metamask card this year alone. It is the world's best neobank. It is your keys, it is your coins, it is your custody, and it will have double-digit cash back for all purchases made on the Metamask card. That's going to be powered through some very exciting things, including USDC cashback, but also cashback paid in meme coins from the Linea and meme communities. So what this is going to do is it's going to attract 1 million, just this year, 1 million new users who are real users, who are super high quality users, KYC'd, they use the chain, they use DeFi, they like meme coins, and we're going to have the highest quality users in crypto using this card, and it will fuel the growth of the ecosystem because the card's usage will also fuel DeFi usage. Swaps for the card will fuel DEX volume. Integrations between, say, ZeroLend and the card will fuel lending volumes and enable a permissionless neobank that allows people to turn a debit card into also a credit system where they can send loans, they can supply loan, they can take loans, they can spend their loan to fuel the card. So the card is our leading flagship growth index. And as the card grows, all that growth matriculates down into the ecosystem and populates very high quality users throughout Linea's ecosystem.
Thank you for your detailed answer. 정리하면 페이먼트까지 지금 고민을 하고 준비를 하고 있는 것 같네요. 메타마스크 카드가 발행이 돼서 리니아 체인에 있는 자산을 가지고 메타마스크에 넣어놓으면 메타마스크 카드를 가지고 바로 결제할 수 있는 시스템까지 구축을 하고 있는 것 같아요. 정말 많이 고민한 흔적이 보입니다. 네, 이것으로 이제 질문 섹션을 모두 마치도록 하겠습니다. AMA가 거의 막바지를 향해 달려가고 있는데요. Chris, our AMA almost done. 처음 소개부터 질의응답까지 완료되었습니다. 이것으로 오늘 AMA를 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘 크리스님께서도 많이 고생해 주셨는데요. 마지막으로 한마디 듣고 AMA 종료하도록 하겠습니다.
Linea is the home network of the world. We are working very quickly to get our applications like the Metamask card into Korea so that you can also get the benefit of the world's best neobank on Linea. But this is really a community-oriented network, so we would love to see people show up, participate in our Twitter spaces. Come find me on Twitter, send me a message, send my team messages if you want to learn more about the ecosystem. It's the most welcoming ecosystem in the world. There's a lot of alpha. There's a lot of trades to be made. It's a very exciting place to be. We have the best projects in the world building on Linea, and it's really a great time to get into the ecosystem prior to the TGE, because when the TGE happens, there's a huge amount of mindshare that comes to the network. There's a huge amount of liquidity that flows into the network. So this is the best time to start exploring the Linea ecosystem, become a community member, check out Foxy. Foxy is our biggest meme coin community in the world. Great team, great people, and I would start there. Go join the Foxy community, check it out, talk to them, learn more about the Linea world, and don't hesitate to talk to us on Twitter because we're out there, we're in the trenches with you.
Thank you for today, AMA. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.